So imagine being greeted by amazing aromatics when you open the front door. It's been a long day, and now you have this deeply flavored slow cooker curry, chicken curry to enjoy. Imagine how good that's going to feel. And you thank your past self for listening to me and and just getting this dump and go meal ready. Every time I do that and I cook it, have something in the slow cooker. Okay, so if you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. When I come home, I'm always so thankful to myself. It's like the best investment of 3 or 4 minutes in the morning ever. So my name's Jules Clancy. I used to be a food scientist. Now I'm a cooking coach and I help people make cooking as simple as possible. So I focus on recipes that have like 3+ ingredients. This one particular one actually has 5. So, oh, and the other thing I need to tell you about me is I have a bit of a fetish for I love food and I love hats as well. Anyway, enough about me. Let's jump into the kitchen and I'll show you how to make this. So for my slow cooker chicken curry, I've got a can of coconut milk, which is solidified a bit on top. And then I've got some tomato paste. I want 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. Gives it that nice. I'm just going to stir them in together. And if I'm in a hurry, I don't stir it. I just dump it in. And then we went at curry powder. So I'm just using Keen's curry powder from the supermarket. It's my favorite all-time curry powder. I've tried fancy ones and this is the best for me. But you could also use garam masala. Sometimes I use that if I want the kids to have this because it's not hot. A bit of salt, so a big pinch or 1/4 teaspoon. Then our chicken, and this is also great with tofu or chickpeas as well. So if you wanted to make it vegetarian or add some of those in too. So I'm just using 4 chicken thigh fillets, and then we're just going to get it on low for about 8 hours. Or if I'm in a hurry, I'll cook it on high for 3 to 4 hours. And the curry is looking, we're just going to check in. It's looking nice and cooked. Just going to give it a stir. Beautiful. You can see that lovely color that comes from the mix of tomato and coconut milk. Beautiful. So I'm just going to serve mine on a bed of this baby spinach and the curry. I like how the hot curry sauce kind of wilts the spinach a little bit. So I'm going to serve it with fried rice for the boys. And it's absolutely delicious on its own like that, but you could always top it with if you want a bit of crunch. I do really like this with some roast peanuts or some roast cashews as well. I promised you the story behind this and also my secret to my really supermarket secret to amazing curries. So this recipe, I had been wanting to make a slow cooker curry. That was kind of how but I actually have been working on this for like 18 months. And because normally what happens is I think of an idea, I cook it usually by second or third time I've got the recipe where I'm really happy with it. Occasionally it'll take a little bit longer, but this one I kept going, oh no, I just need to keep working on it because it was just so good. And I every time that I made it, when I came home, I was like, I work from home, but in the evening I was always like, oh, I love this chicken curry. And my Irishman husband, he'd be like, oh, this curry's so amazing. So I kept going, oh no, I'm not ready to photograph this. I want to keep working on the recipe. But essentially I didn't really change the recipe after the first couple of times. So yeah, it's been a long time in the making, recording this video. But now that I've recorded the video, I'm going to still make it. Normally I move on to other things, but I'm going to keep this one in my repertoire. And my secret, I promised you my secret supermarket ingredient for amazing curries. Seriously, Keen's curry powder. This stuff, every time I make a curry with it, and I used to be like a curry snob, and I'd be like, oh, I need to get my curry. I need to use amazing curry pastes, and need to get all my spices from. Actually, I get pretty much all my spices from Herbie's Spices. Shout out to Herbie in Australia. If you're in Australia, definitely check out Herbie. Apart from the curry powder, I've tried heaps of his curry powders, and I just keep coming back to this Keen's from the supermarket. It's just got that, it's so well-rounded. It's got amazing flavor, and it's got a little bit of heat without it being too crazy. Okay, so the other thing with my recipes, apart from how simple they are,
other thing that makes them different is that I always include a list of variations below the recipe so that if you've got a different dietary requirements or you're missing a particular ingredient, you know what to do. Let's dive in and I'll share with you my variation. So if you don't want it as hot, like if you're cooking for kids, I love this, like the Keen's curry powder is the best. But if I am making this and I want the boys to have some as well, then I'll use garam masala, which is an Indian spice blend that doesn't have any chili in it. So it's just got that nice kind of fragrant spice, well-rounded spice vibe, but it's not hot. So yeah, I would use that. And then at the table, I would either serve chili flakes or chili salt or some sort of hot sauce for my Irishman and I to like or some pickled chilies to up the heat level. And the other option is you could always use, if you're looking for less heat, like a spice blend, like Moroccan spice blend, like Ras El Hanout, or Berber spice is another one that's really nice, an Ethiopian spice. So my secret spice blend is so I use equal parts. So if I was making it for this, I'd use a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of ground coriander, and a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a little bit of salt. And that's like such a good, well-rounded spice blend. If you don't have any curry powder or spices, but you do have a curry paste in the house, you could use that. You just want to up the amount. So you'd look at like 3 to 4 tablespoons of curry paste, and any Indian or Thai curry paste is going to work out well here with the coconut milk. If you want to make it more of a pantry meal instead of serving it with baby spinach like I have in the recipe in the video, you can serve it with any frozen vegetables. So frozen cauliflower rice works really well. Or I often actually have cooked this where I've just put frozen green beans, like in the last half hour, cranked the slow cooker up to high, put the frozen beans in or frozen broccoli in, and just let it cook and defrost for the last half hour. Same with spinach or greens. You could just pop the frozen ones in at the end of the cooking time, and then you've got some veg all in the one pot without having to make anything else dirty. If you're short on time, you can cook this on high, as I mentioned before, and it'll take, depending on a few, like 3 to 4 hours if you're cooking it in a slow cooker. Or if you're really short on time, you can just do it in the oven. So take about an hour in the oven, or you can cook it and you might need a little bit more liquid in the oven, or you can cook it on the stove top in a saucepan. So just you would again need a little bit more liquid just to make it that curry consistency, but essentially just dump everything in the pot and bring it up to a simmer and cook until the chicken's cooked through. Of course, if you're vegetarian, these flavors are amazing with lentils. They're amazing with chickpeas. So I would probably use pre-cooked lentils or chickpeas and just add them at the end, like the last half hour of the cooking time. The other option is it's amazing with eggplant as well, or mushrooms. So you could slow cook the mushrooms or eggplant and maybe do eggplant and chickpeas to make it more substantial. You can also serve it with, you could serve it with a fried egg or a poached egg, or you can cook egg in with the curry sauce, but it's not going to, I haven't tested cooking eggs in the slow cooker, but I would imagine it would take like somewhere between half an hour and an hour to cook an egg. Of course, different protein, chicken, but of course you could use fish, you could use beef, lamb, pork, anything that you would want to use in the slow cooker will work well. If you need to be nightshade free and tomato paste isn't an option for you, then I'd recommend the thing I would substitute there would be soy sauce. So probably wouldn't use the whole 3 tablespoons. That'll be too salty, but maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Or if you want that sweetness, some oyster sauce would work really well here to give you that umami and sweetness. If you want to make it more substantial, of course, if you've got carb lovers, so for my boys, I would serve this with either steamed rice or egg fried rice. And if you want my easy egg fried rice recipe, check out the link in the notes to the written recipe, and there's a link on my blog for that, so you can check that out. Something that I often do is that's kind of wok ready noodles. Just dump them in the top again, like for the last half hour, and the steam from the curry will cook the noodles and warm them up, and then you can just divide them between bowls. So that can be a really easy option. If you want to keep it low carb and you're looking for more substantial, like serving with like low carb veg is great. Using more protein is great. It's also really lovely with a bit of avocado or roast nuts too. And if you want to make it fancier, if you're entertaining, if you've got guests coming over, I really love this with some sliced almonds or roast peanuts or cashews. And also, like one thing you might consider is serving it with a dollop of Greek yogurt or some feta cheese, like that would be similar to in India. They have a cheese called paneer. If you've got paneer, use paneer. But yeah, like a little bit of cheese with it or the yogurt with it can really make it a little bit fancier. And also like being a bit fancier with your accompaniments as well. Can you make this ahead of time? Absolutely. I'm not a huge fan of reheated chicken, so I tend not to, but there's no reason if you don't mind that. If you don't mind reheating chicken, you can. And the leftovers are going to keep in the fridge for like 1 to 2 weeks if you've got them in a good airtight container, and you can freeze the leftovers as well. Oh, and I didn't mention, if you don't happen to have coconut milk, you could just use any other liquid. So any dairy-free milk will work well, like almond milk or oat milk, or I wouldn't use cow's milk because that's going to curdle. So I'd just use some stock or water instead if you didn't, and then maybe stir in some peanut butter or some tahini at the end to give it the creaminess if you're using water. But I do want to hear about your curry powder options. So leave a comment below the video. I check them every day, and yeah, I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, have a beautiful week, enjoying your curry and being thankful for yourself for like doing that dump and go. Like literally it's 4 minutes. Like that's being generous on the time. It really doesn't take very long to just chuck those few things in the slow cooker. So have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next time.